Hello, students. Welcome to Ekcel Academy's YouTube channel. So here we are in a live session, and in this live session, we will be discussing the topics related to economic and business environment. And this is one of the papers that you have in your CSEET examination. Now, before we get into the examination and the number of papers and the different topics that you have, let me just take you through the CSEET course, which is offered by Ekcel Academy. So Ekcel Academy is almost a decade-year-old academy now, and we extend classes for CSEET, and we also extend classes for executive programs as well as the professional programs. So this academy has academicians and practicing company secretaries and chartered accountants who are a part of the team and deliver the courses to the students. And as you all aware that we are one of the leading and the top English YouTube channel when it comes to CSEET. And for executive, for the entire program, in fact, not just for CSEET. And the CSEET team of faculties is given here. This is CS Alok. He is also the founder and the chief promoter of Ekcel Academy. This is me, Ramcharan, and here we have Miss Madhuri Welling, who teaches business communication, while Alok sir teaches business law, and I take care of economics, business environment, and current affairs. Here we have Vishwas sir, and he takes care of the logical reasoning part, and we have Purnama ma'am. She takes care of the Vivavos. So these are the 5 faculty members who will be teaching the CSEET course at Ekcel Academy. Our classes are available live for all of you. That is, in the case it is all recorded, and the video classes are available, which you can make the best use of, and there'll be support sessions and live sessions which is done for the students. So if you are looking for CSEET classes in English, so that's the most important thing, in English, because the study material is in English, the exam is in English, so the learning should also happen in English. It is as simple as that. So for free counseling, you can call up this number, which is displayed here. It is 7406 077406. This is the number which you can call up and get all the information, and you can clear all the doubts that you have related to the CSEET examination. Your doubts may be regarding the eligibility criteria, it might be regarding the exam pattern, or it might be regarding the number of papers in the subjects you have, or you might want to know more about the faculty members who teach at Ekcel Academy, or you would be having some other doubts. You can get all those doubts clarified by just giving a call, or you can WhatsApp to this number, and our counselors will get in touch with you, and they will make sure that all your doubts are cleared. And we also have an app, which is the Ekcel Academy app, which it is available. It's an Android app, so it is available in the Google Play Store. You can always download this app, and you can see all that the Academy offers to all of you. We have conducted multiple live classes so far, and our classes are digitized now. So we are experienced. We were into offline classes, and we had hundreds of students. Now we have shifted to the online classes, and even now we have multiple students from across the country. The online mode has simply increased the scope of the academy, and we are catering to the needs of the students coming from different parts of the country. And from the beginning, from the inception, our results has always been great. We are much above the country's average, which is a wonderful index to tell how the academy is performing. And like I told you, these are the faculty members who teach the CSEET course. Each one of us are experienced, and we have made a mark in our own subject and area. So I'm very sure that all of us would be delivering the best of the course material and the best of the ways that is possible, so that you learn well, and without any fear, without any problem, without any concerns, you should be able to clear your CSEET examination. Right. So with this introduction about the academy, let's proceed ahead, and let's discuss some of the topics related to the CSEET exam. Now, before we go ahead, let me just tell you, we have important subjects such as the business law, and we have the logical reasoning. We have business communication, and we have current affairs. Then we also have economic and business environment, and we also have a part which is Viva. So these are the important subjects that you have in your CSEET examination. Exam is multiple choice based examination. So you have to read, understand the concept, have clarity in each of the topics, each of the concepts that is taught to you. That's the key in clearing the CSEET examination. So once you are thorough with the clarity, once you have the in-depth knowledge of what is being taught to you, answering MCQ questions will become a cakewalk. So here the stress is not more. It is definitely not on the descriptive type of learning. It is not on memory, but it is on your conceptual clarity. That is very, very important. Anyway, so let us move to the next part. So here I have chosen the CSEET paper 3, chapter number 1, which deals with basics of demand and supply. So if I have to give some information to you about the CSEET paper 3, which is economic and business environment. See, there are two parts in this. First part deals with the economic environment. We don't call it economics. It is economic environment, although we study topics from the subject economics. This is mostly +1 and +2. That is your 11th standard and 12th standard, or in the state of Karnataka, we call it as pre-university course. So those topics from the economics subject is taken, and here you study it. And in the business environment part, we study some parts related to your business studies. You might also call it commerce in your state. And we will have few other things which we take from business management and other related subjects. So this is how the composition of paper 3 is. First part deals with economic environment, and we study a few topics related to economics. First chapter is completely microeconomics, and second, third, fourth chapter until 5th chapter, we mostly have topics from macroeconomics. When it comes to business environment, we study something like what is business environment, what is entrepreneurship, and where does India lie when it comes to global business environment and all those things. That is covered in the second part of the paper. So both these papers will have equal weightage. See, let me just tell you one more thing, which is very important. Especially if you are a pre-university student, or if you are in school, that is 11th and 12th, or if you are a part of the degree, generally we have this habit of leaving few chapters and focusing on few and making sure which is the most important chapter, from which chapter will I get the highest marks, and the focus will be purely on that, and then we pick those chapters and study. I'm not telling it is bad. That's how the examination system works, correct? But here you are attempting a professional course, and this is like an entrance examination, like the expansion tells, company secretary executive entrance test. So this is an entrance test that you are writing. So whichever paper it is, paper 1, 2, 3, 4, whichever subject it is, my advice to all of you would be to give equal importance to all the parts. That's the first thing that is to be kept in mind. And the second most important thing that is to be kept in mind is giving equal importance to every topic, every concept. Do not leave out anything. See, we may tell that there is equal importance given to economic environment and business environment, but the paper setters have all the choice in the world to change the composition. That is the first thing. We cannot tell that you have told this, you have not given. That kind of an opportunity is not there when it comes to professional examinations. Number one. Number two is, so there may be a chapter, say chapter number 1. Here we deal with demand, supply, and the market structure. These are the three broad categories that we find in chapter number 1. And we might tell, okay, this chapter is important. Maybe in the examination, there might be no questions on demand and supply. All the questions may come from marketing, market structure. We cannot argue telling that how can you leave demand and supply? I had prepared so well. No. So such options, such scope is not given to us. So what should we do? How do we deal with this kind of a thing? There is no point in questioning the system. There is no point in being a rebel and all those things. So what is that we can do is give equal importance to both the parts, economic and business environment. That's the first thing to be done. Second thing to be done is say there are 4 chapters each. Give equal importance to all 4 chapters, that is in the 2 parts, and make sure that you know each and every concept topic that is there in all the 8 chapters. Done. Whoever sets the paper, whatever may be the type of question, there should be no problem for you in clearing the CSEET examination. CSEET examination, the level of difficulty is moderate. It is not very difficult. At the same time, it is not very easy. There is no point in giving false image to you. It is neither easy nor difficult. It is moderate. So maybe regular, consistent efforts from your side will make sure that you get good marks and you clear the examination. So that should not be a problem. Anyway, so these are certain things which I wanted to share before I get into the topic of the day. And if you're yet to follow our channel on YouTube, if you're following, wonderful. If you're yet to channel, please subscribe to our channel. Virtually on every day, there is one or the other video update that is given to all of you on our channel. We cover various topics related to executive, related to CSEET, current affairs. There is a series that is going on where the practicing company secretaries are interviewed by Ekcel Academy promoter CS Alok. So all these are things which will leave you with a lot of inputs. And we also solve the MCQ questions, which is very, very important. That's another part. We solve the MCQ questions on all the subjects: business communication, law, current affairs, and economics, and all that, which comes in the e-bulletin of the ICSI chapter. So even that is solved by us. So all this should help you to do well in the examination, gain a lot of knowledge, and of course, keep you motivated throughout the course. So one easiest thing that you can do is subscribe to our channel, then follow the videos that come. We make sure that our videos are not very long, and the production of the video is also given a lot of importance. So you can expect good quality videos that come both from the visual angle and from the audio angle. So it'll be a good experience if you can follow all this and prepare yourself for the CSEET exam, or at a later stage for your executive and professional exams. So these are certain things which I wanted to share before we get into the topic. So here we are dealing with the first chapter, like I told you. The first chapter for you deals with 3 topics. One is demand, second is supply, and third is the market structure. In this class, let us focus on the demand part of the chapter. So this is very, very important for us, simply because this is the basic thing that all of us should know. So let us start with the first thing. So what's the first thing? Meaning of demand. What do we understand by demand? Demand is an economic principle referring to a consumer's desire to purchase goods and services and willing to pay a price for the specific good or service. This is the definition that is given for demand. It's very simple thing. So what's a demand? See, there are 3 aspects that we talk here. First aspect is the desire. Second aspect is ability. Third aspect is willingness. So what is desire? Desire is, in simple terms, we can call it dream. So if a person has a dream to have something, so that becomes a desire. I desire to own a Mercedes-Benz car. Done. That's my desire. Second thing is ability. The ability in different contexts will have different meaning. But in economics context, when we use the word ability, we are talking about money. I desire to own a Benz car. Fantastic. Great desire to have, great dream to have, great goal to set. Do I have the money to purchase the Benz car? If I have, then I have the ability. If I don't have, I don't have the ability. So first and the foremost thing is every person should have desire, will have desire. There is absolutely no doubt about it. Second thing is, will all people have the ability to realize their dreams? I want to build a house on moon. Possible, not possible. Scientific, unscientific, we'll not get into that. But do you have that much money to fulfill your desire? If you have, fantastic. Third one, sometimes what happens is we may have money, but we may not have the will to spend that money on that. Let's take a simple example. It becomes very easy. When all of us were small, when we were going to school, right, we all would have desired to eat, the ice cream which was sold outside our schools. So we had the desire. What was the problem that we had those days? We did not have the money. We did not have the ability. It would have been 1 rupee, 2 rupees, whatever it is, but we were not given that money. So we had the desire, we did not have the ability, so we could not create demand. Now, we may have tens and hundreds of rupees in our pocket, and we may pass in front of our school, but are we willing to stop in front of the school, buy that ice cream and eat? We may not. So what do we understand here? For us to tell the demand exists, there are 3 important conditions to be satisfied. What are they? First one is the desire. We should have the dream to own a good or a service. Second is we should have the money, that is ability. And third one is we should be willing to spend that money on that particular good or service. When all these 3 conditions are satisfied, then we tell the demand exists for the good or the service. So that's the meaning of demand which is given to us here. Let me read out these 3 lines once again for you. Demand is an economic principle. Okay, it is related to economics. Referring to a consumer's desire, it is talking about desire to purchase goods and services. It is when we have to purchase, we need money, so ability, and services, and willingness to pay, So when these 3 conditions are satisfied, then we tell that demand exists. I hope all of you have understood the meaning of demand. Right. If you have any doubts related to the concept or the meaning of demand, you are free to leave your doubts in the comment section, and we will see that the questions, the doubts are answered. Okay, there are 2 messages which have come. Happy birthday, sir. Okay, Iranna Patil. Whose birthday? My birthday was last month. It was on 20th. So are you wishing me now? If you're wishing me now, thank you very much. Thank you so much. That's absolutely fine. Very nice of you. Thank you. Okay. Let's move ahead. So here we have the law of demand. This is one of the most important and very frequently discussed topic in economics. Be it in your second PUC, be it in your degree, be it in your CSEET, whichever exam you take, whenever you are studying economics, we will discuss the law of demand. So it is very, very important for us to understand the law of demand. The law of demand can be presented in 4 ways. So there are 4 forms in which the law of demand can be presented. So which are those? The first one is the textual form. When we write this law of demand using words and sentences, it becomes textual form. That's the first form. What's the second way of representing the law of demand? The tabular form, which all of us know. What is a table? Table is the combination of rows and columns. Correct? No, this is a table. So using tables and numbers, we can represent the law of demand. Fantastic. It can also be represented graphically. So we know the y-axis and the x-axis, and we will have curves here. So we can use the graph and we can represent the law of demand. And finally, we have the equation form in the form of a mathematical equation. We all know there are different types of equation: linear equation, quadratic equation. There are different types of equations. So using the mathematical equation, we can represent the law of demand. So all these are the 4 different ways in which the law of demand can be represented. We should always remember this. It is very, very important for us. So the law of demand can be represented in the textual form, in the tabular form, in the graphical form, as well as in the equation form. Right. So in the next slide here, we will see the law of demand, and the law of demand is presented in the textual form. Like I told you, when we tell about presenting the law of demand in the form of a text, it means that we are representing it using words and sentences. As simple as that. So here we have the law of demand. Let me just read it out to you. According to the law of demand, other things being equal, there is a Greek term that we use for this. When we keep all other things constant, we call it as ceteris paribus. So when everything is kept constant, if price of a commodity falls, the quantity demanded of it will rise. And if the price of the commodity rises, its quantity demanded will decline. This is what it says. So let's use the whiteboard to understand the law of demand. So what is the law of demand telling? keeping all other things constant. So we are keeping everything in the world, everything under the sun constant. Fantastic. We are considering only two factors. Which are those factors? One is the price, and other is the quantity demanded. So what are we doing with all other factors? Which could be the other factors? It could be income, it could be fashion, it could be trend, it could be technology, whatever it is. Everything is kept constant. It is considered to be zero. For our understanding, we can tell that we assume that none of those things exist in the world. Fantastic. And we are considering only two factors here. Which are those two factors? One is the price and other is the quantity demanded. When all other things are kept constant and we consider only price and quantity demanded, we observe that whenever the price increases, quantity demanded decreases. When price decreases, quantity demanded increases. As simple as that. Very simple. So what did we just understand now? We just understood that when everything is kept constant ceteris paribus, and we consider only the price and only the quantity demanded, we observe that whenever the price increases, quantity demanded decreases. Whenever price decreases, quantity demanded increases. So what is this? This is our law of demand. So very simple, correct? Let's go back to the law. Let us check. According to the law of demand, yes, other things being equal, that is ceteris paribus, if price of a commodity falls, the quantity demanded will rise, and the price of the commodity rises, the quantity demanded will decline. So what do we understand here? There is an inverse relationship between the price and the quantity demanded. This is what we are able to understand from this particular law. So what do we understand? The price and the quantity demanded are inversely proportional to each other. When one increases, other falls, and vice versa. So this is law of demand represented in the form of the text. It is a textual representation. Let's proceed ahead. So here we have a table, right? So this table is representing the law of demand. It's a tabular form of representing the law of demand. Very good. So we all know a table will have two parts. One is the row and other is the column. So these are columns for us, right? And all these are rows for us. Correct? No. So here in the first column, we have taken price, and the second column, we have taken the quantity demanded. Beautiful. Let us read the first column very carefully. So what do we observe? The 30 seconds time to all of you. Observe the first column and try to understand what exactly you observe there. If somebody finds something, you can put in the comment section. All right. Did anybody find anything in the first column? What is your observation? Can anybody let me know? What do you observe? What is the relationship that you find between these numbers? So, okay. The relationship that we find here is the numbers are reducing. 80 became 70, 70 became 60, 60 became 50, 50 becomes 40. So what do we observe? Price is declining. So when price decreases, what will happen to the demand? Demand is expected to increase because we are keeping all other things constant. See here, 0 to 200, 400, 600, 800, 1000. So it's very clear when price is decreasing, quantity demanded is increasing. So first part of the law is done. Second part of the law. How can you prove that when price increases, quantity demanded decreases? Can you prove that using the table? Yes, we can. How? Read the same table from the bottom. That's all. If you can read the same table from the bottom, you will get the second part of the law of demand. So how do we read it? Very simple. From 0, 10, 20, 30, we are going upward. So what's happening? The price is increasing. So what happens to demand? Demand increases. 1,600 becomes 1,400, 1,200, 1,800, 600, 400, 200, and 0. Simple. So for one part of the table, or for one part of the law, we read the table from top to bottom. For the other part of the law, we read the table from bottom to the top, and we get the law. So what is this? This is the tabular representation of the law of demand. What does the law of demand tell? When all other factors are kept constant, when we consider only the price and the quantity demanded, we observe that there is an inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded, and it is very well represented for us in the form of this table. I hope you have understood the tabular representation of the law of demand. Correct. So BK Creation has sent a message telling that inverse relationship. Yes, price and demand has inverse relationship. Thank you so much, BK Creation. Thank you. So we are observing an inverse relationship between price and the quantity demanded. Fantastic. Thank you. So this is how we represent the law of demand using the table. If you have any doubts, you can definitely ask in the comment section. I will be more than happy to take your doubts and clear all your doubts. Okay. In that case, we will move on. We will go to the next slide. And what do we see here? We see a graph. Correct? So this graph is representing the law of demand. This graph is representing the law of demand. Fantastic. So how does this graph represent the law of demand? That is something which you have to understand. So let me zoom in the graph so it becomes easy. There will be no distraction for us. Okay, very fine. Now let's see this. Let us first understand the basics of the graph, then it becomes easy. So this axis is called the y-axis. This axis is called the x-axis. The 0 here is the origin. That is the point where the x-axis and the y-axis are intersecting with each other. Beautiful. And always remember this. In economics, we take those factors which represent money on the y-axis. So which are the different factors that represents money? Price, cost, revenue, profits, right? All these represents money. So whenever you are dealing with cost, revenue, price, all these things, or profits or loss, you just have to place them in the y-axis. So in this case that we're discussing, we have considered two factors. One is price and other is quantity demanded. So what is price for us? It is representing, price is a factor which is representing money. So where should that go? That should invariably go to the y-axis. Finished. So price comes here. So what have we taken on y-axis? We have taken price. Simple. We have a logical reason for that now. So which is the leftover factor now? The leftover factor is quantity demanded. So where should it go? It should straight away go to the y-axis. Finished. So we have two axes, the x-axis and the y-axis. On the x-axis, we are taking the quantity demanded. On the y-axis, we are taking the price. And both these axes are intersecting at a point, and that point of intersection becomes the point of origin, over and out. So we have understood the arrangement of the graph. Now let us see the graph. So there is an arrow which is pointing downwards. So it means that price is moving from 80 to 60, 60 to 40, 40 to 20, 20 to 0. So the price is decreasing. So the price decreases according to the law of demand that we have just discussed in textual form as well as in the tabular form. What should happen to the quantity demanded? The quantity demanded should increase because the price is decreasing. So what happens? Look at the arrow. Arrow is pointed towards the right. So what happens? 400 to 800, 800 to 1200, 1200 to 1600. Beautiful. Price is decreasing, quantity demanded is increasing. So when we plot that on the graph, we get a line. Look at this red line here. The line is named as the demand curve. And this line is sloping from right hand top to left hand bottom. So what is it suggesting? It is suggesting that this line is a negatively sloping curve, and it is representing two factors. One is the price and other is the quantity demanded. On the other side, if the price increases, if this arrow was pointing upwards, what would happen? 20 becomes 40, 40 becomes 60, 60 becomes 80. So price is increasing. What will happen to the demand? Demand decreases. 1,600, 1,200, 800 to 400. Again, we get a line which will be negatively sloping. So what is this? This is the graphical representation of the law of demand. So in the beginning, I had told you all that the law of demand can be represented in four ways: textual form, tabular form, and the graphical form. And the last one is the equation form. So here we are in the last form in which the law of demand can be represented, and it is in the form of an equation. Look at this equation carefully. QD is equal to A minus B into P. That's the equation that we have got. Okay. Now, the moment we look at this equation, there are certain things which we are familiar with. There are certain things which we are not familiar with. So which are those factors which we are familiar with? QD. You and I are very familiar because we have been using this from the time we started discussing the law of demand. So what does QD represent? QD represents the quantity demanded. Done. First part understood. Here we have a P. And so far we have been discussing the same thing, right? What does P stand for? P stands for price. Done. That's also done. Then we are not aware of these three factors. Which are those three factors? A, B, and the negative sign. So these are the three factors which we are not aware of. So what are they? If we can understand that, then we are clear about this equation. Simple. QD stands for quantity demanded, P stands for price, A minus B is something which you have to understand, right? A and B, collectively, if you have to give a name to them, we can call them as constants. Simple. A and B are constants. One point done. Then, what is B? B is the slope of the demand curve. Remember the graph that we had? We can calculate something called the slope by having a right angle triangle there. We can name these points as A, B, C, and then we can apply the Pythagoras theorem. AC square is equal to AB square plus BC square, and substitute all the values, and we get a value at the end. That end value that we get is B. So what is it? It is the slope of the curve, slope of the demand curve. Should we know all these things? No, not required. I just told you because you should know what B is. So what is B? B is the slope of the demand curve. Finished. What are A and B collectively called? A and B are collectively called constants. B is the slope of the demand curve. Done. What is A? A is the quantity demanded in the absence of price. That is, when there is no price for a particular good. Let's take an example. You and I are going on the countryside. We see a farmer who's harvesting his crop, say sugarcane. We stop. We ask the farmer, can you please give us some sugarcane? We will pay whatever amount you ask for. He says, you need not give anything. I'm harvesting. I'm extremely happy. I have got great crop this year. Take how much ever you want. So somebody is giving something for free. There is absence of price. Correct? So you may pick one sugarcane, I may pick one sugarcane. You may pick two, I may pick two. Definitely not more than that. Correct? No, if you pick more than that, it will become very cheap. Anyway, say we pick some units of sugarcane, how much ever units it may be, 1, 2, 3, 5, whatever it is. So we pick. So what does it mean? It means that in the absence of price, we still created some demand. So such a demand is represented by A. We can prove it. We can show it mathematically also. QD is equal to A minus B into 0 because there is absence of price. Nobody is asking us to pay anything. The farmer is telling, take how much ever you want. So we are not paying anything. So what happens now? QD is equal to A minus 0. QD is equal to A. So what is A? Quantity demanded in the absence of price. That is something which you have to remember all the time. So let us look at this equation once again from the beginning. What do we understand? QD represents quantity demanded. A represents quantity demanded in the absence of price. B represents the slope of the demand curve, and P represents the price. Beautiful. There's one more factor which you have to discuss. We are yet to discuss, which is that is the minus sign. What is the minus sign doing there? It is representing the inverse relationship between the price and the quantity demanded. We know that price is inversely proportional to the quantity demanded, and that is being represented by the minus sign that's in the equation. So these are the 5 factors that we have in the law of demand equation. One important point which you have to remember here is price in this whole scheme of law of demand is an independent factor. You should never forget this. Price is always an independent factor, whereas quantity demanded is a dependent factor. The change in the price will have a direct impact on the quantity demanded, right? Quantity demanded follows the pattern of the price. Although they are inversely proportional, the governing factor is the price, and the following factor is the quantity demanded. I hope you have understood things so far. So this was a topic which I wanted to discuss in this live session for you all. Before we wrap up this session, there is a graphical representation, a pictorial representation, very simple representation. All that we have discussed so far has been put in the form of a simple picture. So it's a pictorial representation of the law of demand. So here we have when price goes up, what do we observe? When the price goes up, the quantity demanded goes down. And when the price goes down, the quantity demanded goes up. This is the relationship between price and quantity. So we call it as the inverse relationship. So this is the pictorial representation of the law of demand. I hope you have understood the meaning of demand, the law of demand, and the 4 different ways in which the law of demand can be represented. I'm here for some more time, maybe a couple of minutes. If you have any doubts, you are most welcome. You can drop it in the comments box. I'll read and I'll try to give the answer. I'm waiting for your questions. Any questions related to CSEET course or any questions related to the topics that we just discussed now, you're free to ask. Sir, I am in 12th standard. Can I give CSEET exam? Of course, you can. Now, the eligibility criteria has been made as 10th standard. So you can definitely give a CSEET examination, possible. Okay, any other questions from any one of you? You can WhatsApp your questions to the number which I just showed in the beginning. For your benefit, I'll again go back to that slide. In case if you want to contact us through WhatsApp, you can note down this number here, 7406077406. So you can send a message, WhatsApp message to this number, asking any doubts related to your CSEET course. Our counselors will be more than happy to answer your queries and help you with the registration and other things. If anybody else has any other questions, you can please ask. Okay, so I assume that nobody has any questions. I will wrap up this session. It was wonderful interacting with all of you. do WhatsApp your queries to us and we will get back to you with answers. Thank you so much. Thanks for joining the live session. Thank you.